Lisa Cook wins round one in her fight to remain a Fed governor, but there's going to be an appeal. I'm a lawyer in real life. I don't play one on television. Lisa Cook is a Fed governor, the first Black woman ever appointed Fed governor, and she was removed from her position by Donald Trump. She filed a lawsuit, and a federal judge has just granted her motion for a temporary restraining order. Fed governors can only be removed for cause, and the government is arguing that Trump had cause in this case because allegedly Lisa Cook falsified mortgage applications when she said she was a resident of one state, but she was actually a resident of a different state. Essentially, they are claiming that she was able to get more favorable mortgage rates because she lied about where her permanent residence was. But that occurred before she became a Fed governor. When she was nominated to be a Fed governor by President Biden, she had a background check. The FBI looked into who she was and whether she was a suitable candidate, and she was then confirmed by the Senate. The judge in this case had to determine what for cause means in order to determine whether or not the president could remove Lisa Cook. Now, this is the government's argument as to what for cause means. And they are arguing that it's anything the president says it means, as long as it bears on the individual's ability or fitness for the job. It has something to do with more than just a mere policy disagreement, and it was not known at the time of her confirmation. The judge in this case said, before I accept the government's definition of what for cause is, let me do a little research. So she went all the way back to 1935 to investigate and research the legislative context in which the Banking Act was passed. And in her decision, she discusses what for cause meant in 1935, not what Donald Trump wants it to mean today. And in her opinion, she determined that for cause refers to in-office conduct that demonstrates ineffective or unfaithful execution of statutory duties. This is not surprising because this is what other cases say for cause means. The judge explains that for cause must mean something more than anything that the president can communicate. Can you imagine if that is the standard that we are left with? That anything that the president, and not just Donald Trump, there are going to be presidents after him, but anything any president can come up with, can think of, and believe is for cause would be sufficient to remove people like Fed governors. The court also determined that the due process rights of Lisa Cook were likely violated also. She was given no meaningful way to respond to what the president was alleging. And for all of these reasons, the judge said, look, I'm going to grant this temporary injunction and that she should continue to serve as a federal board governor. But this only means that the government is appealing. They have already filed their appeal. And until this reaches the Supreme Court, we're not going to know the outcome in this case because as we have seen repeatedly in these types of cases, the lower court judges will rule one way and the Supreme Court will rule a very different way. So we have to stay tuned and see how this turns out. But y'all let me know what you think. Just based on what you know so far, do you think there was a for-cause reason for Lisa Cook to be removed as a federal governor? Let me know what you think in the comments.